בעזרת השם. בפסוק פרק י', פסוק כ"ה. No. Yes, כ"ה, right? We did the כ"ד. כ"ה.
Yeah, we're up to cafe.
כעבור סופה ואין רשע. When the storm passes, there's no more rasha. וצדיק יסוד עולם, and the tzaddik is the foundation forever of the world. יסוד. Forever. שלום עליכם מתן. So it's like כעבור סופה ואין רשע. When a storm comes, the rasha disappears. So the same way when there's a sufa, a storm, and it comes fast and strong and destroys everything along the way. Yes. And the storm, when there's nothing, you cannot stop it. It comes and it wipes. It says also the same thing is the nefilah of the rasha. The rasha also is like a storm. When it falls, it comes like a storm. There's no way out. And it says it comes ke'eref ayin, meaning it's unexpected. And that's the הכוונה ve'en rasha. Meaning at the end, the rasha is completely wiped. However, the tzaddik, yesod olam. The tzaddik stays forever. And he's the foundation forever. Meaning what his way of life, his behavior, his teachings, yes, are staying embedded and engraved in his surrounding, in his talmidim, yes, and they are there forever. Another pirush the guy wants to say is that when the sufa, when a gezerah comes, lo alenu, when there's a challenge that's sent to the world, the rasha is taken with it. There's not the fact that there's midat adin in the world, so the rasha becomes exposed, and in a moment, right, of such midat adin, he gets wiped out. However, the tzaddik, because he's so anchored in his avodat Hashem, he's like a foundation. When a storm comes, what does it take? It takes what's above ground, but it doesn't break the foundation. So the tzaddik is like a foundation. He's protected, just like a foundation is protected, even at the time where there is midat adin in the world. The Gaon explains that Sufa represents the two Bate Dinim, the two levels of judgment that we find in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is Elohim, right? in the Ima, Ilah, by the Bina, yeah, and Amonai, which is in the Yesod, in the Malchut. Right? If you take Gematria, Elokim 86, and Amonai 65, yeah, 86 plus 65 is 151. 155 is the Gematria Sufa. Sufa, Samech, Vav, Pe, He, right? 151. Huh? Yeah, that's Gematria Sufa. Meaning when there is when a storm is when there is the two Batedinim that are aligned. When the midat, the two, when the beta, the midat adin of Elohim and the midat adin of Amonai are awake, and they join forces. And at that point, yes, if you're not considered a tzaddik, yes, it's very unlikely to be spared. And so what's the hidush about the Rasha? That the Rasha ke'eref ayin, the Rasha right away gets wiped out. It's not that he gets hurt, but he comes out of it hurt. No, the Rasha is completely wiped out. Okay? So Shlomo HaMelech comes to tell us that again, there are situations that you cannot expect, that you cannot control, just like a storm. And if you are not well prepared, then lo alenu, the damages are yes, cannot be fixed, especially for the Rasha. That's pretty straightforward. I mean, yes. Kachometz, pasuk kavav. Kachometz lashinayim, like vinegar to the teeth. Veche'ashan la'inayim, and like smoke to the eyes. Ken he'atzel lesholhav. So too is the lazy to the one that sends him, to this shaliach, the one that sends him. Shaliach. So the Gaon says the following.
Could you repeat the last part of the pasuk?
So too is the influence of the lazy to the one who sends him to do in a mission, to do something. So he gives an example. Yes, he gives an example.
Why?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Why first, Shalom Aleichem, it started the Pesukim before with the positive part first and then the negative, and now it turned it around and starts with the negative and then the positive?
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Changed.
But Yes, but you're going to see the next pasuk is going to go back again. יראת השם תוסיף ימים ושנות רשעים תקצורו. It's a style. It's that because he's addressed, at a pivotal point, when after Birkat Hashem ita ashir velo yosif etzev ima, right? So he starts, he picks up from velo yosif etzev ima. Yes, he picks up on from there and builds again. It's a style matter. That's בפשטות. So says the Gaon that when a person is hungry, he needs to eat, and instead of eating directly, he drinks vinegar. Yeah, so we continue Mechila. Where are we? Yes. So kechomes lashinaim, when a person is hungry and he wants to eat, yes, and he actually drinks vinegar. The vinegar will not only create acidity in his stomach, but it will also weaken his teeth. So not only that his hunger, he can't even eat properly because he has weak teeth. Yes. So instead of benefiting from something, he actually harmed himself. Then another mashal he brings, like smoke to the eyes. He says when a person wants to see, he wants to see clear, and he decides to light a bonfire with wood that is very humid. What happens? Now there's going to be very dark smoke because the humidity of the wood makes a very thick smoke from the fire. And the smoke will harm his eyes. So not his eye, and will make his eyes very like it's like they're hurting, like they're tickling, right? So now he wanted to see, and then what happened? He can't even use his eyes. So not only that he doesn't have clarity, but he can't even open his eyes properly now and see properly. Says Shlomo Melech, exactly the same thing that happens when you depend on someone that is lazy. It's like when you say, in what way? You want to accomplish something, any task, and you send someone to accomplish that task. It could be an employee, it can be a friend, whatever. You send someone to accomplish a task that you need to accomplish. And that person is lazy. And what happens? On one end, the shaliach, the mishaleach, the person that's sending the person, the shaliach, right? The messenger. He's expecting. He's building a level of expectation. He thinks that what he wants to happen is happening and is being taken care of. But in reality, the lazy is not accomplishing anything. He's not doing anything. And not only that, but he's actually damaging. Why? Because the time and the resources that the person invested in that shaliach, in that messenger, are now wasted. Not only that the person didn't benefit at the end from the work of the messenger, but it's going to make him sick, recognizing that at the end he chose the wrong person and that he wasted time and he wasted resources and that he waited all that time. And says the Gaon, that sadness, that disappointment has a direct impact on the eyes of the person. And it makes it influences, yes, his sight, and it creates in him so much sadness and anguish and frustration that it creates acidity in his stomach, just like as if he drank vinegar. So not only that he's not satisfied from the work, but he ends up being hurt. Interestingly enough, the Gaon stops his pirush here. He doesn't apply it not in Torah. He doesn't address anything else but that. And I think that the Gaon chose not to address something that is extremely deep, that the Rambam it touches on. So that concept of disappointment and wrong choices in people, yes, seems shuli, seems secondary and not so impactful in someone's life. Okay, so you don't have the right shaliach. Okay, so you don't, yeah. But in reality, Shlomo HaMelech is giving a very strong message here. Why? Because if you cannot identify laziness as an issue and as a problem, it's because you are lazy. And therefore, you don't see in the other person's laziness a problem. If you don't understand that lighting a bonfire with humid wood, okay, will harm your eyes and therefore you are not going to see, it means that you don't have the proper assessments of the situation. If you're hungry and you want to eat, and instead of eating healthy food, you drink vinegar, it means you don't have the proper assessment of the situation. And that, yes.
I'm battling with something. Is it not our responsibility to try to help these people break their laziness, or should we simply stay away?
That's not the point here. We've addressed that in the past, of how much you can get close to the ksil and that.
Right.
Here,
is this person a ksil?
Here the problem is not the shaliach. The problem is the meshaleach. You understand? The pshata pashut, you would think, be careful of the lazy guy. Yes, but that's not the message. The message is that if you don't see the problem in the laziness of the person, that means you have a problem. That's what Shlomo HaMelech is coming to tell us.
But if I saw it, then
that's why he brings the example of the vinegar and now of the bonfire that harmed the eyes. What's the common denominator between all three? The choice that is being made. Yes, which means essentially Shlomo HaMelech is telling us, you are your own enemy. By not having proper assessment of situations, you harm yourself. You end up hurting your own body, making yourself sick. So the Shlomo HaMelech is basically telling us, you have an obligation to be aware and to assess situations properly. That's the message that we learn. That's from the Gaon. The Ramam opens the window of depth. And he says the following. We know here Shlomo HaMelech in the Pasuk, he addresses the eyes and the teeth. Both have a very deep meaning al pi Kabbalah. The eyes are the sense or the organs yes in the body that led to the tov vara, to the good and bad. Yes, Chava saw that the tree of knowledge was looked good. Okay, so the eyes essentially are the cause that led to eating of the Etz Hadat Tovara, that led to what we know about humanity, that the Yetzer Hara now is inside the body, that now there is now a concept of death in humanity. Yes. So Shlomo HaMelech says the following, based on the Rama. Sorry, so that's the eyes. And the teeth is what actually ate the fruit. So the two main organs in the body that were directly involved in the chet, in the sin of Adam HaRishon, of eating the fruit of Tov Vara, are the eyes and the teeth. Now, the eyes, you have Ain Tov, Ain Tova, V'Ain Ra'a. Chachamim address that, right? Or you have Ain Tova, a good eye, or you have Ain Ra'a. What does that mean? We have both. One eye, the right eye, who stimulates and is inclined in seeing the good, Chachmei tell us, and the left eye, which is Ain Ra'a, which is seeing the darkness of things, right? And we have both eyes at the same level to see the same thing, so that we can create equilibrium and assess situations and see the good and the bad, and then make a decision, right? To choose the good, or lo alinu for the person that wants to choose the bad. Good. Shinaim, we have 16 teeth on top and 16 teeth in the bottom, except for those that went to a dentist that, okay, did something else. But naturally, we have 16 on top and 16 on the bottom. Together, it's 32 teeth, which is lev, right? The gematria lev. Lev netivot HaChochma, which are the 32, right? Streams of Chochma.
Rabbi, can I add something nice?
Better.
So I volunteer for Hatzalah, So CPR, when you do CPR and when a person is not alive,
Yeah.
the compressions are, you do 30 compressions and 2 breaths, which is also 32.
לב. יפה.
Yeah. They calculated
Okay.
that that's like the correct amount. So
יפה מאוד. So now let's apply. So essentially, with the two eyes, you are now exposed to the good and the bad. And with your teeth, you have access to the 32 netivot HaChochma. Now what happens? Says Shlomo HaMelech, if you are lazy, because why you are lazy? Because you don't see the problem of laziness in the other. So if you don't see any problem in someone's laziness, it's just showing that you are lazy. So your laziness does two things. It will damage your eyes. So now, not only that you don't have clarity around you, but you cannot see properly. What does it mean you cannot see properly? You can no longer differentiate between the good and the bad. This is the impact of laziness. But not only that, it's like chometz, it's like vinegar to your teeth. It's weakening your teeth. What does it mean? That now your Torah, and Chazal said that there's Torah shebe'al peh and Torah shebichtav, right? That's why we have two levels of teeth, one top and one bottom. The top is Torah shebichtav, the bottom is Torah shebe'al peh, right? And together, right? That's how you formulate and you talk, and well, that's aval. Now your teeth are becoming weak. What does that mean? You no longer have a grasp of Torah shebichtav and Torah shebe'al peh. You cannot understand the Torah shebichtav anymore, and you cannot understand the Torah shebe'al peh anymore.
Why? What does that have to do, like practically speaking? Is because
Think
you're too consumed with this
the laziness.
with this laziness.
Yes, because when you're lazy, you don't think clearly. You don't want to understand until the end. Yes, what you need to understand. The mitzvot are no mitzvot anymore. Yes, so the laziness is like a cancer that slowly consumes the person. Yes, in his ability to assess situations and see the good and the bad clearly on one end, and can no longer also benefit from the Torah itself and from the mitzvot. So essentially what happens, the laziness leads you to what? Leads you to the smoke of the fire and leads you to the drinking of the chometz, of the vinegar, right? Those are side effects of or collateral damages of the laziness. What is the smoke and what is the vinegar? So Chazal say ve'aborek, when the well is empty, and bo ma'im, there's no Torah, there's no water. Ma'im and bo, when there's no water, nahashim ve'akaravim yeshvu. You have vipers and you have scorpions. Both have a poison, are poisonous, and can and have and consume the life of the person from within. It's not like a lion that come and chops the head off of a guy. No, they inject a poison, and that poison slowly chokes the person from within and shuts down the organs from within. So you can see a person, yes, and he looks perfect. He's full, He's not missing anything, but he was stung. Slowly, the poison goes, shuts down the organs until he hits the heart and the brain. The person is gone. This is the specificity and the particularity of the viper and the scorpion. Says the Ramam in the Pirush HaGaon, he says like this. It's like when you're lazy, what happens? You're exposed to that smoke. What is smoke? Can smoke hurt you? Nothing. Yes. That's this one. Vinegar. Can vinegar hurt you? No, it's only vinegar. But in reality, once you internalize it, once you drink it, or when you let the smoke in your eyes, that's when the damage happens. Just like the Nahash and the Akrav. Says the Gaon, the laziness exposes us to those types of Yetzer Hara. And it's like you're inviting now the poison within you to slowly consume the essence, the nature, the vividity, livelihood, again, the spark within a person. This is the impact of laziness.
How could we understand if we're lazy or not? Because our mind will find reasons to give answers, rationalize that we are not. Okay, we are not. Maybe we compare, and I'm not this guy that. But how can we not work or have simanim, or just get each day better?
Nice.
In sports, you have terms of reference. You are good, you play. Here is like subjective.
It is, first of all, it is subjective. Okay. Well, what's the definition of laziness?
Is defined as a reluctance to engage in activity or exertion despite having the ability to act or work.
That's ChatGPT?
Yes, it often manifests as a preference for ease, comfort, or leisure over effort or productivity.
Oh. Laziness is
The last part is the best part of the definition.
Yes. Laziness is to give precedence to your comfort over your obligation and responsibility. You don't want to get out of your comfort zone. That's what lazy means. And by default, you can delay things. How do you call laziness in Hebrew? Atzlut. The shoresh is atzel. Atzel is gematria 190, right? Ayin 70. Sadik is 90. It's 160. Lamed 30, 190. Gematria ketz. Ketz is the end. You push all the way everything to the end. The atzel is the one that says, let's wait until the end and then I do it. That's the definition of the atzel. Why? Because he's more he values his comfort. He values his comfort over his obligation and responsibilities. Okay, Mechila. Okay, so that's the atzel. Hatzel is the one that pushes at the end because he values his comfort over his obligation and responsibilities. We can do next pasuk. Andy, tell me. You're
No,
still...
I mean, I have to leave, but you can continue and I watch later, please.
Mechila, it's okay.
No, please. No, please. You can continue. I watch it later. Oh, let's do it, and I'll go like in the car. I'll put
It's
just
a
my
small
audio.
one. Kav Zain is a small one.
Let's go.
Okay. Kav Zain. Mechila. Yirat Hashem tosif yamim. Fearing God prolongs life. Ushnot reshaim tiksorna. Well, the years of the reshaim get shortened. The Gaon says the following: a man that always fears and has anguish, and he's always apprehending, this person doesn't live a life. He doesn't have life. That's not called life. Chayav enam hayim. This is not called chayim. This is not called life, to live. Because all his life is mixed with stress and anguish and fears and sadness. And all these emotions, says the Gaon, will bring that person to die earlier than expected. Why? Because of the impact of those fears.
What kind of fears? What kind of anguish? What kind of fear?
It's not anything that's not Yirat Hashem. That's the contrast that he makes. Any fear and anguish and sadness and distress and yeah, that are not a fear of Hashem, by default shortens the life of an individual. However, the flip side, אבל יראת Hashem, but if you have fear of Hashem, תוסיף חיים. That fear actually makes your life longer. Because that fear is not like the rest of the fears. Because the fear of HaKadosh Baruch Hu essentially is the fear. What is the fear of Hashem? Like we explained, Yirat HaRomemut, right? Fear of awesomeness. So you're in such in awe of Hashem that you fear to hurt, to disappoint. Yes. But that fear comes with what also? Comes with bitachon and emunah, because you're so in awe of who Hashem is that you trust. Yes, you trust HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So that covers all and neutralizes all the other fears that life can create in a person's life. So the difference between the two is that one is a positive outlook on life. It's someone that understands that there's a Kadosh Baruch Hu and he controls everything and he is in charge of everything. And I have a responsibility and an obligation towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, my focus on my behavior is to make sure that my behavior is aligned with Hashem. Yes. That actually makes your life longer, because you're not under the stress and the influence and the sadness and the pain of the mundane life. And you, on the other hand, you're also reassured that you're under Hashem's protection. Whatever that means. That doesn't mean that He will give you and grant you what you want. You know that you're following the path of Kadosh Baruch Hu and Hashem is in control. That gives longevity. If you don't have that longevity, then you fall back into the fears of life that leads to a shorter lifespan. That's without reshaim. That's just life. ושנות רשעים תקצרנה, כן. The life of the Reshaim is shortened. Says the Gaon, even if you see a Rasha living a life without any fears, calm, and seems like everything is smooth and perfect, and he has no fear. And if he's a Rasha, he's not fearing HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He has no fear of God. By default, that's what the Rasha is. So, theoretically, we would think that he should have a longer life, right? Because he doesn't live he lives a life of that is stressless, without any stress, without any fears. Afal pichen, says the Gaon Tiksorna. It's not the fear that will shorten his life, but it's his actions that will shorten his life. So the shalva, the satisfaction, the inner peace, the tranquility that you see in a rasha is far from being the lifestyle that will give him longevity and a long life. The opposite. His actions are going to end up being the reason why his life gets shortened. You might ask me, but we see Reshaim that live hundreds of years old. But in the life that he actually lived, yes, the Chaim that is really called Chaim, the days that are really fulfilled and accomplished, are very short. The tzaddik.
What does that mean? The life that he lives, the days that he lived are really short. What does that mean?
His real accomplishments, meaning that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will not let this person, yes, fulfill a potential of real Chaim in his life. He will be always distracted by something, like the Mesilat Yesharim writes. Yes, he will always have something else to do, not to be busy with mitzvot and ma'asim tovim that are and chasadim. That's regarding the rasha. Now, if a person is not a rasha, then or you have the ma'arechet, or you're exposed to fear that basically take away from your life. Yeah, I think I lost you. So or you, if you're not a rasha, yeah, if you're not a rasha, then you fall back into a dynamic, or you're exposed to mundane fear, and those fear consume your life, right? And therefore you don't have the mind, the heart, the effort, the time, the willpower to do mitzvot u'ma'asim tovim and actually gain life and live moments of life. or you are focused on Yirat Hashem, you have Yirat Hashem, and at that moment, all your life becomes a life of focus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If not all, the most. And that is the segula to arichut yamim, to longevity. Because now you make the most out of it. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be only a physical long life or shorter life in terms of days and minutes. It's also what you make out of your life. When you have Yirat Hashem, most of your life is an invitation and an opportunity to fill it with meaningful behavior, meaningful lifestyle. But when you're always under the influence of fear of the mundane life, it consumes you so much that you don't have the power, you don't have the energy, you don't have the focus, the time to actually invest in real life.
Very easy to say it for somebody who has take somebody with a health issue. Okay, they get caught up in the fear of this issue that they're dealing with. How does someone?
But that's a result. But that's a result. That's a result of a lack of Yirat Hashem. It's not that you have a choice, choose this over this when the challenge comes. If you have Yirat Hashem, yes, then by default, when the challenge comes, it's addressed a certain way. But if you don't, then the fear consumes you. So the more you build a life of Yirat Hashem, and the more you are armed, yes, with the right shield of protection from the fear of the fear of mundane, day-to-day life, whatever that challenge is, because there's no guarantee, yes, that because you have Yirat Hashem, you're not going to face challenges. One thing has nothing to do, but the outlook on how to approach all those challenges will change dramatically and drastically depending on whether or not you have built the shield of protection that's called Yirat Hashem versus not building it. Say there? Clear?
Thank you very much.
All right, so
Awesome.
we did Kav Zayin, finished Kav Zayin.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you. Beautiful.
Be'ava.